Hi, I'm DBC Pierre, and I'm here with a writing tip, which is just what you need. Right? We're writing. There are only 10 million of them, which means there's only 9,990,000 to go. Right? I laugh, but there seems to be such an incredible amount to learn and to keep in mind when we're writing that I end up cautioning beginners to actually not pay much attention. What we have to give, what will set us apart, is the unique adjacence, the unique energy that we bring to work. And unless we set out specifically to equal or better one of the great genre works, and to write the ultimate spy novel or the ultimate romance, then we're better off forgetting about that and not competing with technicians. We need to remember Shakespeare is still in the shop and will outsell all of us put together. So what we have is what we have personally, and our job, as much as all the techniques of writing, which of course are good to learn, and we do bump into problems which we want to solve, and that's what they're about, so that's great. But if you're a beginner and you're setting off into this, wading through all the rules of dialogue and this and that, it can be a nightmare. So forget all that for a minute, because some of the greatest works are flawed, but are great because they jump off the page and drag a reader with them through some incredible odyssey. That's what we're trying to do. And we can polish our technique along the way and all of that kind of stuff. But I recommend not to think too deeply about it, because we need to invest the work with our own energy. Writing a story is also like charging a battery. The power we put in comes back off the page in mysterious ways. There's an alchemy running underneath all of our top of mind concerns and our fiddling with language. Things are entering the work which make it uniquely ours, and I think we should spend some time managing the forces and the tricks that can protect that and make it happen. So I wanted to talk about the moment in great works when the engine starts running in a story, which is to say, the moment when a story comes to life. And I found, if you look, there will be a moment when the engine absolutely starts to run by itself and we're swept along with it. In great stories, it's the first sentence or the first paragraph, and really it needs to sweep us along from the get-go and use forward motion to explain the setting and to fill out the characters, to show things by action. But I've always been fascinated by the notion of that engine running, because we know it's there. If you've written before, you will have had that moment. And it is, for us, for the writer, it's the moment when we say, this is going to work. Doesn't matter what other mistakes we make now, after this sentence that we've just written, and which is on the page, not in our minds, because also the mind, our eureka moments come with feelings, and can be much grander than they end up looking on the page. When on the page we're excited and we find that moment where we say, this is going to work. There might still be the whole rest of the story to write. There might still be mountains to climb, but we know it's going to work because this one thing excites us and has set the thing in motion. It's not good for us to sit in front of blank pages. It's horrible. And of course, the type of people that we are sometimes coming to writing as well, we can spiral into bad places and put the work aside. It's probably true that some of the great works of history have never been completed, because of that self-management. And so it's in our interest to start the engine of the work as early as possible in the process of writing it. And the great thing about a story, once its engine is running, it runs forever. Once that's printed somewhere, it will exist for as long as we exist, and the engine will always run as long as our language is spoken. So it's no small thing, no pressure. And I wanted to propose a hack which I call round the corner thinking. It is that, rather like cinema, we have a medium which can move anywhere all the time. That is to say, it can actually travel. The viewpoint can travel. The scenery can travel. And all too often, we set things up like an architect's model, with a character here at the table and a character here on the street. And they're just like static shots. And we describe what's going on, and hopefully some dialogue and some action and whatever other tension we've put in there will carry it along. But the truth is, we can really move, and what I found invigorates a piece of writing, and especially starts a work off well, or helps it in that direction, by simply getting it moving. It's kind of a push start for the engine, and it opens up new avenues for us as well as writers, and blows the cobwebs away. Round the corner thinking. So let's say we do have a character, the first scene, character at a table, in a room, in a house, on a street. What I'm saying is, rather than say, how are we going to introduce this? Here's the room, here's the house. No, step around the corner and start there and see what comes to you. It also helps to expand our geography of the setting, and also for the reader, so the place becomes slowly familiar, and we get a sense of a wider world, so that it isn't just this one character in one room, but rather there is a churning place with billions of stories all happening at once, and we travel through it a short distance to one story. And that introduction, that tracking shot, if you like, can start the engine running, and certainly gives it a damn good push. Is to say, what is around the corner? Imagine. Here's the room, here's the house, there's the character around the corner. There's the post office. Two characters in the post office gossiping among themselves that someone was found unconscious around the corner at number 33. And then they walk around, we follow them along. We pass the house where that happened, number 33. They look through the window, we look through the window. That's the house we're talking about. There's our character at the table, and we're there. We've come from somewhere else. Or opposite on the corner, behind the plate glass window of the shop, a child in a pram with an ice cream cone is sitting riveted through the window at number 33. For some reason we can't see that yet, we just see the child, and the more focused he becomes on that view through the window, the more the ice cream cone leans and leans and leans, and as the ball of ice cream falls, a shot rings out. Someone runs past the window. We go. It's number 33. Or 2 blocks back, a tower block, someone on the balcony, observing cars moving under the trees down the street. And the thing about moving, keeping the action moving, even if it's a static thing we're going to, the point is we can come there from somewhere else. We can imagine it from somewhere else. And in the process of doing that, we ourselves imagine wider scenarios. It lets in air to the idea of our scene. and new things can come through that. More importantly for a reader, in terms of starting the engine, that movement creates questions. It asks questions which automatically engage the mind. For instance, who is the child in the shop? Why are they looking? What has happened? You could, if you're narrating a third person story, simply describe that street, and therein lies the tension and the questions. Instead of going, here's the character in the room and here's what's happening, you go, turning left onto Evansville Road. After 40 paces, you will come to the doorstep of number 33. Beyond that, 100 more paces is the bus stop. On the opposite corner is a takeaway. And then the street does its long, fateful curve out of sight. And in doing that, of course, first of all, you've only mentioned one address there, so that's important. It's an interesting way to open up an avenue for your energy to come into the work. And also, I think it can kickstart that engine and get the story running. And once you're excited by something that you hadn't imagined, which can be half the effort, actually, if we've imagined this whole story, by the time we sit to write it, we're pretty bored with it. We love it when suddenly an animal escapes from the zoo in our mind and we put it in the story. Suddenly we're not writing what we thought we were going to write. That's where we go. That's where our energy comes into it. There's my tip. Another one for your collection, around the corner thinking. And you can go as far around the corner as you like. Good luck. We'll try it out together. And I'll see you in print.